And now we learn about the strategies of achieving work-life balance and maintaining overall well-being. Please welcome to the stage Maha, Zaatari, workplace culture consultant, employee engagement and well-being. Amanda, Gravitis, CEO of Smart Salem. Gethin, Nadin, Chief Innovation Officer at Benefex, and your moderator, Erika, Pellegrin, host and founder of the Balance Theory.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this panel where we'll be talking about work-life balance. My name is Erika de Pellegrin. I'm the host and founder of the Balance Theory podcast. And joining me today on my esteemed panel is Maha Zaatari. She's a workplace culture consultant on employee engagement and well-being. Amanda Gravitis, she's the CEO of Smart Salem. And Gethin Nadin, he's the Chief Innovation Officer at Benefex. I'm really excited to chat to you guys today about work-life balance because the topics that I think are going to come out of our conversation are ones that I'm really passionate about and talk about on my show as well. So very excited to be here. Maha, let's start with you. In high-pressure workplaces like Dubai Police HQ, how do you create an environment that supports personal well-being alongside professional responsibilities?
First of all, thank you for inviting me to be here. I'm very happy to be part of this event, and it's the first time I am in such an event with such settings, so it's a change of scene, and I think it puts everyone in a good mood, so happy to be here. Dubai Police, so we're talking about a police force taking care of the safety of a community like a city like Dubai. So speaking about work-life balance and people well-being is not an easy task. And we are on a constant mission, which is mandated by the leadership of the city of Dubai and the country of UAE, to make sure that this is an initiative that tops every strategic agenda. For that, we have recently created, which I was talking to you about, something that we call the Quality of Life Center, which is dedicated into crafting programs dedicated to every police officer. We're talking, as I said, about 24,000 police officers, making this city one of the safest cities in the world. So we're taking a very data-driven approach. So we do a lot of research and studies and try to understand what does it that makes the people of the police have a higher sense of emotional, physical, and mental well-being. We try as much as we can not to tick boxes and do things that are nice to do. So the normal or the sessions or events or yoga classes or whatever it is, which is really important, but we take it from a scientific perspective and we customize our initiatives for the police officers specifically. So in short terms, like we make sure that everything that we do is authentic and is customized, and that's a key to making any program successful.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Not taking kind of a blueprint approach to everyone is really important to actually making that effective.
Exactly.
What unique challenges do employees in law enforcement face when balancing work and health, and how do you help them specifically overcome those challenges?
Well, again, we're talking about the police, so you can imagine what they see, making sure keeping everyone safe and sound in this. So we don't only look after our people, but the community of Dubai. And what these people or the police officers are exposed to sometimes are situations that can make any human being very stressful physically and mentally. In order to do that as well, we again take a very scientific approach. We have built the Quality of Life Center. We have hired the best of the best specialists that customize programs for each group based on the job families. So one of the key issues that we're dealing with now, for example, is the lack of sleep. We were talking about that now, and if you just think about it from a very broad perspective, lack of sleep, then you have to sleep more. But the answer is no. We have to identify and understand why these people are not sleeping. And it's not just the hours of sleep, it's the quality of sleep. So how can we improve that? So we have a team of experts that look after the police force and customize, again, programs. We have doctors from around the world who come and help us. And we are on a continuous hunt for organizations and institutions that also customize initiatives for the police force. We travel around the world, so there is not a country that we did not visit, and we learn from other police forces. So we visited Switzerland, Italy, France, Holland, UK, and we tried to learn and change experience. So what's working there with the police force, and how can we bring it to the UAE?
It's so interesting. Thank you for your work. I think it's very important, the work you're doing. Amanda, I might turn to you now. So as the CEO of Smart Salem, how do you personally balance the demands of leading an organization and then maintaining your own health and home life?
Thanks, Erika. A really great question, and I would actually like to start with saying maintaining work-life balance isn't just something I've now experienced as an executive, but even when I started my career in consulting, that was actually probably the most challenging time when I was trying to find that balance. And through that and through my career, the way that I found that works for me, and I think it is different for everyone what works for them, it's about working flexibly, but flexibly for you. So for me, what that means is blocking my mornings. I don't take meetings unless they're with very important people until 9:30. So that means my mornings are mine. I don't check my emails. I go to the gym. I be active. I ride my horse. I walk my dog. I get outside. And for me, I feel really refreshed when I start the day. For some people, working flexibly means they want to start early so that they can get home early, be with their families, their children, cook dinner. But for me, protecting that time has been the most important thing for me now about how I balance.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call out. That balance looks very different to every single one of us, and actually identifying that as a first starting point, not just copy pasting someone else's definition, shall we say, is probably the most important first step to set those boundaries. On a kind of professional note, what initiatives or policies has Smart Salem implemented to help employees actually achieve this in their own lives?
I'm actually really proud of what Smart Salem is doing for our employees and how we are leading when it comes to our employee engagement, and I think a large part of that is about how our staff find work-life balance and enjoyment in their work. We've been certified for a second year in a row now as Great Place to Work. We had some outstanding results sort of last year. I think we came 8th in the GCC healthcare category. And so we spend a lot of time making sure that our staff can work flexibly in a way that works for them. We have launched a leading sort of parental leave policy. So the mandate in the UAE for new mothers is 60 days. We offer over 160 days.
Wow.
So for us, you know, there is nothing more important than family. So we've done that for mothers and for fathers. We offer preventative health testing, very heavily discounted and in a lot of cases free for our staff and for their friends and families. And so we're really just trying to make sure that our staff are feeling like we're looking after all elements of their health, from their mental health also through to their physical health. And on the preventative side, which is what we stand for, we're also not only doing that with our staff, but one of the things that we are doing with our clients...
I hope you all enjoyed the meditation.
One of the things we're actually doing with our clients, and this is what we were speaking about earlier, was we're taking a similar data-driven approach to our clients. So we're working with a lot of corporates to help them understand different dimensions of health and wellness risks across their organisation. If you look across different departments or even at different levels, the health and wellness risks that they experience, and it's not just what they experience in the workplace, but it's also at home. Why are they not getting good quality sleep? And if you can understand that, you can design bespoke programs that are actually targeting those particular risks per the department or per the level. So why is it that you don't let truck drivers drive after an 8-hour shift? You know, you have policies in place to make them take a rest, yet we don't put a lot of things in place to make sure that executives who are making multi-million, billion-dollar decisions on a day-to-day basis are also looking after their own health. So we're working with a lot of corporates on a very data-driven approach to overall health and well-being, and I hope that we'll also be able to help more companies as well.
Thank you for that. It's nice to hear. I love hearing when companies actually practice what they preach, and it's meaningful. So that's great. Gethin, I might ask you something now. As the Chief Innovation Officer at Benefex, how do you see technology reshaping the way organisations help employees balance the work, home and their health?
So I think related to the conversation we've just had, I think, so as well as Chief Innovation Officer for Benefex, I'm also a psychologist and a 2 times best-selling wellbeing author. If anyone wants the book, connect with me online and I'll probably send you one. I don't think you can buy it in the Middle East, so you'll get an exclusive. But I think what's really interesting is we now have 3 decades worth of research to show that when you design the workplace around well-being, that drives the outcomes that most businesses want to see, whether that's shareholder return, profitability, innovation. I mean, we can link things like mental health to how many things you will sell if you are a salesperson. And so we already know that actually if you prioritize workplace well-being, you will create a more successful business. And just to echo some of the things that have already been said, you are designing, what you've done is design work around well-being. You've created that flexibility, you've put things in place. When we look at technology, I think technology is really interesting when it comes to well-being because first of all, it bridges physical gaps. Lots of people work for global organizations. Lots of people are balancing hybrid work with workplace work. Bridging those physical distances is really, really important, and technology allows us to do that in a really, really effective way. I think what's really interesting as well is some of the talks yesterday and today where we're seeing this emergence of these very old historic well-being methods. Meditation is probably the greatest example that people have been doing for centuries, and we're rebadging that up now, but we're making it more accessible to people because it's driven by technology. You don't have to go to a monastery, you don't have to speak to a specialist, you can lay in bed wherever you are in the world and practice mindfulness. And so that technology, I think, has just brought well-being more into our homes, and I think one of the conversations that was happening with somebody yesterday is there's a really delicate balance there as well, right? Because we know technology is also contributing to this poor well-being situation. But I mean, if you look at some of the big providers around the world, like Headspace and Calm, they've created corporate products. We have a huge amount of really interesting research from people like Microsoft who are linking meditation breaks in between Zoom calls to less stress throughout the day, higher productivity and innovation throughout the day. And so just allowing people to kind of use technology to break from technology is starting to have some really big impacts in the workplace as well.
Yeah, the accessibility has definitely been quite profound. And I always love when these ancient things, the modern science or kind of modern popular conversation goes back to the old roots. But I definitely agree with you there. How does promoting work-life balance enhance employee engagement and retention? And what role do benefits actually play in this process too?
So I think the world has moved on. I think the pandemic globally was a watershed moment in workplace well-being. I mean, it only took a pandemic for us to start caring about each other, but I think the world really turned. I think that period of quiet reflection gave people this view, is this really the company I want to work for, and is this the job I want to do? Throughout the pandemic, half of the people that found a job through LinkedIn moved to a completely new industry. So people had enough of some industries and decided, it's not all about work for me. And I think if we look at the data globally from lots of younger generations coming through, they are not really designing their lives around a career in the same way that people did historically. And so I think we need to make sure that the workplace is a positive driver in people's lives, and that means fitting in with their lives. So to echo the conversation we've already had here, we have to allow people to design works experiences that fit in with their lives, whether that's flexibility so that people can see their kids before bed or they can drop them to school or nursery. And all the evidence is telling us that when you put well-being first, you create a far more successful organization. Like I say, we've got 3 decades worth of research, but if you look at the Forbes 500, if you look at the FTSE 100 in the UK, you can directly predict what companies are going to be more successful by how much they prioritize well-being and what the well-being score of their organization is. Right the way down to, if you look at group accounts throughout Europe, if you mention mental health or you mention well-being in your group accounts, you're more likely to be a successful business. So it's really fascinating research. So it feels a little bit against tradition to allow an employee to tell us what they're going to be doing and how they design their work experience. All the evidence now says that's a precursor to success. And so I think allowing people the flexibility to design work, whether that is where they work from, how long they work for, the time of the day they work, all that kind of stuff, it makes a significant difference on the business. And my final point is the money is now following this, which is why we should pay attention. So if you look at the top 600 investors in the US, 90% of them say how you treat your employees is something they will look for before they invest in you. We've also seen, on the back of the pandemic, the number of consumers are saying, I will buy from a brand that does right by its people has gone through the roof. So suddenly, because of the pandemic, everybody thinks that treating employees is the right thing to do, allowing them to design those work experiences around their own well-being is driving to success for everybody. And because of that, if you look at the Edelman Trust Barometer globally, the employee is now the most important stakeholder in the success of a business, which is over and above investors, shareholders, and even customers. So a really significant shift in just 5 years.
As someone who comes from corporate, it's a nice shift a nice time to be a part of the world. I think employee-centric businesses definitely have a different feel to them. And as you said, the money's following. Well, I want to thank all three of you today for sharing your insights. I've learned a lot, and as I said, it's really nice to see businesses so passionate about this in a very genuine way. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone. I love what you said. You nailed it.
Thank you so much to our phenomenal panel for that brilliant, brilliant session. Of course, we have to get our photos in before we do move on. We love it.